Hi everyone, it's Mariah Rossell. I hope you're having a great day, great afternoon. So I wanted to talk to you today about this idea of letting things go. And the thing that I've realized is in order to actually let things go, we have to first fully embrace them, fully acknowledge them. Because one of the things that happens is something's happened in our life, whatever it is, and we become ashamed of it. And shame is this idea of this is the place where we don't feel that we deserve to be loved. And so we create a way that we hide from our experience, from our reality, by trying to hide our shame. Shame doesn't want anyone to know about it. We're afraid of sharing it with people. And so we hide it. We hide it from ourselves, we hide it from other people. And we create all of these stories, and often this is unconscious, subconscious rather. So we're hiding from our shame. We're creating personality structures around hiding the shame because we're afraid that somebody's going to find us out and find out our shame, and they're going to know that button to push that's going to make us contract. And so the first thing is, if we are continually hiding from this, we now have this deep, dark secret that somebody or something can eventually push at, and that's going to make us break, and that's going to really, really hurt. And so the first step is owning that shameful experience, owning our experience and owning our reality, and saying, this is what happened, and owning it. Don't turn ourselves into a victim. Don't turn ourselves into an abuser. Just straight up, this is what happened, and this is my story. And trying to do this in as non-judgmentally of a way as possible, and also as unemotionally as possible. There's always going to be an emotional charge to it, and this isn't to say don't be emotional, but when we can start to talk about the experience and have it be simply this is the story of what happened versus this is the story and I now feel all of these ways about it, it becomes really difficult because we get wrapped up in the story. We're too close to the story to actually be able to fully own it and have it be the story, because now it's still, this is who I am. It's still a personal identifier rather than this is something that happened, and while it did happen to me and it happened as a part of me, it's not who I am, and it's not how I choose to go forward. This is not me. This is something that happened in my story. And so this is now when we can start to separate ourselves from our stories. This is where we can start to let it go. But until we've actually owned it, we're not going to be able to let it go, because there's going to be that part of us that holds on to it being like, oh, well, I let it go. But I never actually fully integrated it. And that's the thing, is we have to integrate, we have to learn from that experience. We have to no longer hold that experience as being shameful and upsetting. It's that we have to take this experience and say, this is what happened. This is, just point blank the story. And now that we have owned it, we've really felt that shame, we've felt the story. Now we can say, okay, well, why do I need to hold on to this story? Because it's in the past. We can't do anything about the past other than let it go. And the way we actually have to let it go is by growing from it. And for me, the best way that I've found to grow from it is to look at that story and really say, how have I learned from this? How have I assimilated this experience? How has this shaped who I am? And now that it's just a thing, it's a part of my past, it's not something that I'm running from, it's not something that I'm hiding, I've fully owned that, now I can actually let it go. And now that I can let it go, that's when the transformation and the shift can happen. And now it's not this thing that I'm running away from. And so the other thing that I really like to do with these stories, or the energies that come from these stories, is offer them the blessing of saying, I honor you, I'm grateful for having this experience because I've learned in this way what this experience is. And now I can move on. But until I can really own what happened and see how I grew from it, see how this made me who I am, I'm going to continue to be trapped in that cycle of this thing that I'm ashamed of, that I'm running away from. And so that's where you own it, and then you can release it. And now once you've released that story, the other really, really powerful thing is you're always going to have haters. And you're always going to have these people trying to undercut you. And so the big thing is, if you can own your story, and you can say, this is my story. I've been sharing my story, and I'm comfortable with my story and my past and my shame and all of these things. Then when these haters come up, when they start to say, oh, well, you know, because you did X, Y, and Z, instead of you having that contraction and saying, oh, somebody found me out, somebody's talking about my shame. It's like, no, 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 no. I've owned my thing. I've owned my past, whatever it is. I've come to terms with it, and it is who I am, and it shaped me. You know, even if it is things that we're not so proud of, we've done them, they're who we are, they're in our past. And now when the haters come up and they say, this is what happened, you can say, yeah, I did. And I've already told people about it, I've already owned it. So your point is, rather than somebody comes up and they push that button and you're like, oh, that really, really hurts. And so this is the point about, you say, it's not going to really, really hurt when they push on that button, because you've owned it, you've claimed it, and it's just a part of your past. And the biggest thing is you've moved on. And so now you can let it go and say, shit happens, and I'm here now, and I'm moving on, and I've grown to be who I am today, and I'm so grateful, because it was every single experience that I've experienced in my life that got me right here, right now. And I love all of them. I honor all of them, good, bad, and different. I don't even need to judge them or polarize them by making them positive or negative or anything like that, because they're just things that happened. And I'm who I am now, and I'm so grateful. And I wouldn't be who I am now without all of the experiences that it took to get me right here, right now. And so with that empowerment, I can say, I don't need to hold on to those stories anymore. They're no longer something that's going to charge me. They're no longer something that's going to sculpt my personality and sculpt who I am, because I'm not hiding from them. I'm not trying to avoid them. They just are. And so play around with that. That's been a really fun thing for me to be playing around with lately. And I hope you're having a great day. Like my channel if this is useful to you. Share my videos, and have an absolutely lovely afternoon. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.